Alrighty, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Very Cold Lasagna, the podcast that has a safe and open listening platform for casual, cold, and even the dumbest takes on the world of WWE, AEW, the NFL, and the wide world of pro wrestling and sports in general. I'm your host, DylanLasagna. Welcome to today's episode number 50. Wow, 50 episodes of Very Cold Lasagna, and welcome to today's show, which we got another good one for you all, because today we're going to be talking about the San Francisco 49ers. And, well, sadly, they're lost to the Green Bay Packers in their home opener on Sunday Night Football. We're going to be talking about that game, that heartbreaking loss at home to Green Bay, winners and losers from that game, takeaways from that game, and taking a look, a Week 4 preview to the upcoming game against the division rival NFC West Seattle Seahawks. And before we start today's show, and before we talk about the social media and whatnot, I want to thank all of you that do take the time out of your day to, take all the care in the world to listen to Very Cold Lasagna, whether it's frequently, occasionally, on and off, whatever. 50 episodes. I didn't think I would ever commit myself to do this podcast when I started back in January. When I started, I was kind of thinking to myself, I wanted to grow this hobby of mine, very naturally, more naturally than when I tried to do a YouTube channel for 10 plus years. And well, I was kind of not so committed to it. I tried being committed to a YouTube channel, but I kept going on and off and on and off because I was either just too busy and whatever I was doing in my life, or I just got lazy and unmotivated. But these first several months of Very Cold Lasagna, I think, have been the best. Well, at least for me personally. Obviously, the growth comes naturally, and I didn't expect to do 50 episodes of a podcast that is just me rambling, giving my opinions, stupid or not, on pro wrestling and sports. And, I'm really appreciative of the people that are subscribed, that do listen to me ramble about my weird takes on pro wrestling, sports, football, and all that. I really want to thank all of you that watch and listen to me in whatever episode you listen to. I really want to thank you all. So now with all the happy little things out of the way, talking about 50 episodes of Very Cold Lasagna, let's get down to business. Shall we? We had a Sunday night opener from the 49ers taking on the Green Bay Packers. The 49ers finally had their home opener. Welcoming back the faithful, the fans, back in the stands. About damn time we had some fans in Santa Clara. Thank God. But sadly, it was not to be for the 49er fans that wanted to see the team win. It was a roller coaster ride for both Niners fans and the team itself, because, of a couple of things. The inability to move the ball on offense, the defense getting torched by the bad man, Aaron Rodgers, and, they tried to make a comeback, and they actually took a lead, but unfortunately, they just left too much time for the bad man, Aaron Rodgers, and Mason Crosby synced the 49ers' chances of winning with a game-winning field goal from the Packers to close the night. So it was that kind of night for the 49ers and its fans on Sunday night, September 26th. They fought hard until the end, but it was just not enough. But yeah, it was just not our night. It was a night filled with many mistakes. We tried to make a comeback, and we almost did, but in the end, just not enough. So we're going to get more into it. We're going to continue to talk about it. But before we do, we always do what we always got to do. We got to share our social media. We got to share the social media of Very Cold Lasagna. So if you like what you see here, make sure to subscribe to the Very Cold Lasagna YouTube channel and turn on that notification bell so you'll be notified of each and every episode that comes out and the exclusive videos that you see here on VCL on its YouTube channel. And listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, and Google Podcasts. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Very Cold Lasagna. So let's talk about this week's game from the 49ers, who went home to take on the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. They finally got home after a 2-week road trip where they pretty much outlasted the Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles in back-to-back weeks to start the season 2-0. Now, there were some questions and concerns about this 49ers team that started 2-0 because, well, there were questions about the secondary, there were questions about Jimmy G, there were questions about Kyle Shanahan, all pretty much questions I and pretty much some 49ers fans also had going into this game against the Green Bay Packers, who had a get-right game against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football last week in Week 2. Where they pretty much outscored Detroit 21-0. I think that was the box score. No, 14, either 14-0 or 21-0. I already forgot, but nonetheless, they pretty much ran away from Detroit with the victory. And Aaron Rodgers had a bounce back game, along with Aaron Jones and Davante Adams. So they pretty much ran over the Lions in that Monday Nighter in Week 2. So they were going into this game with a lot of momentum back on their side, and the Niners were still having a 2-0 start, but it's not the kind of 2-0 that they had 2 years ago when they were hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 3. So this was kind of a different 2-0. There's like more questions than answers, and well, those questions were immediately intensified once more because, well, once the game started, yeah, it was something to keep most people's eyes on, and not in the way Niners fans imagined. So let's talk about this game that happened Sunday night. We start with the first quarter. The Packers get the ball to start the game, and right from the get-go, the Packers immediately attacked the Niners secondary, and that became the theme for the night, and that became the theme of this quarter, and how the fact that there just weren't many highlights to speak from the Niners to start this game in this first quarter, especially on defense, because the 49ers pretty much allowed the Packers to, spank them on defense. And this was in spite of the Packers self-inflicting themselves with penalties on offense. And the problem was, for the 49ers, that the secondary couldn't stop Alan Lazard, of all people. They couldn't stop Davante Adams. They couldn't stop any of the receiving game. They couldn't get to Aaron Rodgers. And they had a makeshift offensive line that, yet the 49ers front four that had Nick Bosa, Dee Ford, Javon Kinlaw, the other linebacker Samson Ebukam, they couldn't get to him. They couldn't get to him at all in the first quarter until towards the end. Oh yeah, Eric Armstead. Eric Armstead had the only sack in this game. That's a shame against a makeshift offensive line. So they also gave up 2 big passes from Aaron Rodgers to Davante Adams, and then Davante Adams just had a wide open red zone touchdown. And the 49ers were already in a 10-0 hole very early in this game. It also didn't help matters that the offense was pretty much stuck in neutral. This is the thing I want to address. One of the things that I mentioned last week is that they got to start drives faster, stronger, early. If they didn't, they're gonna fall behind real quick. And this is exactly what happened. They were stuck in neutral, both in the running game and the passing game. Trey Sermon couldn't get anything going. He couldn't, the offensive line and Sermon himself, they couldn't establish a running rhythm. And Jimmy G was also throwing it into super tight coverage. He was also digging and dunking it, and it went nowhere. And he was throwing the ball too damn high. And this is a theme that would continue all throughout the night, even in the comeback that we're going to get into. So we get to the second quarter. We get to this second quarter of this game. Things didn't get any better for the 49ers because guess what happened on the Niners' second quarter offensive possession? Jimmy G overthrew George Kittle, and then the Packers picked it off. Yeah, typical Jimmy G. Yeah, Jimmy Garbage Pail. So they were a little lucky that the defense finally did something and forced a turnover on downs. So it wouldn't be 17-0 right away. It could have been 24-0, but goddamn, like the defense finally did something. So the 49ers had their best offensive possession at this point in the game in the second quarter after they forced that turnover on downs. Jimmy G took more chances on the field. He actually managed to push the ball downfield with Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, and George Kittle. And he's finally getting involved in the game, in the passing game. Finally, thank you. But unfortunately, Kyle Shanahan decided to call a run up the middle with Sermon on 3rd and 1, midfield. And instead of going for it, like they could have went for it on 4th down. They could have tried at least the quarterback sneak with Jimmy G, or tried to run the jet sweep up on the right or the left. I know, like, I harped so much on using that jet sweep annoyingly last week against the Eagles. I mean, they at least could have tried it here on 4th and 1. It wouldn't have hurt. But instead, Kyle Shanahan was like, nah, fuck that. We're going to give the ball back to Green Bay and punt it. Like, is Shanahan trying to play to lose here against a perennial playoff team? Like, really? This is not... This goes to show that, this makes me question Kyle Shanahan a lot. This really does. So anyway, the Packers went right back to immediately burning the Niners secondary. Davante Adams was getting wide open even more for big yard plays. And the Niners were committing a needless penalty. They committed a needless penalty in the form of a pass interference call in the middle of this drive. And towards the end, Aaron Jones capped it off with a touchdown pass. And lo and behold, the Niners are down 17-0. Just like that. But at least the Niners got some positive momentum going into the half as they managed to get a hurry-up offense in and get a touchdown. They cut the deficit to 17-7. So they got that with a good kickoff return by a dude named Trent Cannon. I think I'm getting that right. Trent Cannon. His name had Cannon in it. So, yeah. So, also, Jimmy G actually made some good throws to George Kittle and Mohamed Sanu. They got the ball in the red zone. Even though there were some red zone shenanigans by both teams, the Niners finally decided to go balls to the walls and bust out Trey Lance for the first time in 2 weeks. And he decided to call a quarterback run in the end zone with ease. Touchdown. So, Niners got some positive momentum going. 17-7 at the half. So, as for the first half, at that point, the 49ers didn't start off so hot on both sides of the ball. They were doing very badly to contain Davante Adams. They were not doing so well getting to Aaron Rodgers in that makeshift offensive line. They only sacked him once, and that turned out to be the only sack in the game on Rodgers, and the only drop back and hit on Rodgers. So yeah, that usually vaunted defensive line didn't do so well in this game. So even then, getting a touchdown towards this tail end of the half at least inspired some confidence in this Niners team to get back in the game. And lo and behold, once the second half started, once the Niners got the ball to start the half, they went right back to work. They picked up right where they went off. And right then and there, once Trey Sermon got some nice runs in, Jimmy G got some good throws in to Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. And here you go. Brandon Ayuk got a drive-capping touchdown reception. He doesn't look like the scrub that Kyle Shanahan is saying he is, putting him in the doghouse. And there you go. It's a tight ass game now, 17-14. After the Niners opening drive in the second half. So the offensive reignition seemingly lit up. The defense too. They forced a 3-and-out on the Packers. But the Niners were sadly also forced to punt too. And even though the defense did good to force a punt on the Packers opening possession, that was just a mirage. It was sadly just a mirage. The Packers continued to attack the secondary like they were doing in the first half. This time with the dose of A.J. Dillon, Robert Tonyan, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Marquez Valdes-Scantling had the touchdown reception from Aaron Rodgers this time around, and he put the game up 24-14. So, once again, an even bigger hole for the 49ers to overcome. So, when you get to the fourth quarter, the 49ers are running out of time to try to get back in this game. But the 49ers, once again, answered the call with a touchdown drive of their own. They responded right back to the Packers. The 49ers got a big break in the form of a pass interference penalty from the Packers that continued to drive in spite of Jimmy G taking 2 needless sacks. So after they got that big break penalty, Jimmy G got a big pass into Mohamed Sanu, which initially looked like it hit the ground. But the Packers tried to challenge it, but failed. So from there, the 49ers continued to push downfield. They got to the 1-yard line. Trey Sermon finally gets in the middle. The game is within 3 again, 24-21. So the Packers are forced to punt again. The 49ers finally again did their job. The 49ers had a chance to take the lead. They got the ball back at midfield. But unfortunately, this is where Jimmy G once again became Jimmy Garbage Pail. He inexplicably threw the ball backwards. He should have just taken the sack. Like, there was no need for him to try to make something out of nothing in a botched play. He threw the ball backwards, and in essence, the ball is completely loose for the Packers to recover it all the way to the 49ers side of the field. And then a couple plays later, the Niners, were fortunate enough to only have Mason Crosby kick a field goal, but still, 6 points is 6 points. Now, instead of, we can kick a field goal to tie it, we got to go score a touchdown and a field goal to win this game. So, Jimmy G, had to make a big time for that needless mistakes, and perhaps one of his biggest, more than 2-minute drills ever. So, on the 49ers' next possession, in what turned out to be their last possession of the game, George Kittle got involved with a big-time reception from Jimmy G. He got the ball into Green Bay territory before the 2-minute warning. But here's where the problems begin. For this team. They were trying to not only score, but they were also trying to not burn. They're also trying to burn as much clock as possible. So by the time they were in the red zone, they were still over more than a minute 30. So they're trying to figure out how to burn this clock, how to keep the ball away from Aaron Rodgers, give him as little time as possible. But sadly, they got 2 big catches in from Deebo Samuel and George Kittle's. They got in the red zone, but the problem was Jimmy G was still kind of throwing incomplete passes, which stalled the clock. And on a third down, Kyle Juszczyk got a 12-yard reception in the form of a touchdown. And while the 49ers took the lead and 28-7, here's the problem. 37 seconds was apparently too much time for Aaron Rodgers in the pack to march down the field and win the game. Yeah, apparently 37 seconds. No timeouts. Aaron Rodgers completely dissected, again, the 49ers defense, the 49ers secondary specifically. Davante Adams carved up that secondary, and moments later, Mason Crosby kicked the game winner, and man. The 49ers come back, fell short in a heartbreaker to the Green Bay Packers at home in their new throwback jerseys, man. That's not a good way to start the home opener, the home slate of games. So overall, it was a pretty good game. It was a pretty hard fought game for the 49ers, but they did. The offense did pretty good to get back in this game, despite the self-inflicted mistakes, despite them stalling in the first half. But in the second half, they played mostly smarter football. And despite the stupid fumble from Jimmy G, he made better decisions and better throws. But the problem was the defense. The defense lost them this game. They left Davante Adams wide open a lot. They allowed too many big plays. They couldn't. The front four couldn't get to Aaron Rodgers, like outside of one sack from Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, D Ford, and whoever else is on the front seven. They were relatively quiet all game long, and that was in spite of the Packers having a makeshift offensive line. That's kind of embarrassing. That is kind of like disappointing. So, not only that, they just left too much time for Aaron Rodgers to work with. Yes, apparently 37 seconds is too much time. So, overall, it was a hard fought game, but in the end, the Niners just couldn't pull it off. So now let's talk about some winners and losers of this game. First winner, despite the loss, George Kittle. Finally got him back involved in the passing game, so he's just blocking now. Thankfully, Kyle Shanahan is finally getting him to be a passing tight end, adding that extra weapon in the offense, that extra element needed to be successful in the passing game. So finally, and damn, did he look as good as he did, as he usually does. So thankfully, George Kittle is back in the passing game. Deebo Samuel, even though he had a kind of quiet night, he made some good catches, some good yards after the catch when Jimmy G needed it. So Deebo Samuel continues to have that breakout year, even though it was a relatively quiet night for him. Now, as for the losers, yes, there's only two of each here in this game. The losers, the entire defense. Initially the secondary, but it's honestly the entire defense for the 49ers in this Sunday nighter against the Packers. But mainly it's the secondary. The secondary literally, like I said, they just couldn't contain Davante Adams. They couldn't shut him down. They just left him wide open as if they didn't have an assignment. They were just let's just give Davante Adams a freebie literally every time he's on the field. No, you don't do that. It's are you getting burnt, or do you not know where he is? Are you not shadowing him? This secondary is getting frequently burnt, but not just by the rebuilding teams in the Lions and the Eagles, but now by a playoff team. This is bad. And now that they face an much more elite receiver in Davante Adams, can you imagine what's going to happen when they face much more elite competition in the next couple of weeks? My goodness. In that front four. I understand, everyone has that bad game, but man, they couldn't get to Aaron Rodgers at all. They couldn't get to him at all in this game. It's a makeshift, a last-minute offensive line. But I also got to give credit to the Packers' offensive line. They had their assignment, and they did it well, much better than the 49ers. Day 1, 2021 defensive line. That defense just didn't do good in this game. And then, of course, for the third straight week, Kyle Shanahan Like, is there something brewing? Like, does he have a problem trying to be a head coach? Like there was just several issues in this game when it came to Kyle Shanahan. Like, there was an issue where, like, that 3rd and 1 call, like, he ran the ball in the middle, it didn't work, and then he didn't go for it on 4th down. He decided to punt, and then he decided to call it, I think it was a jet sweep when Jimmy Garoppolo fumbled the ball, and that was pretty much on him, both him and Jimmy. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Kyle? And not only that, I don't think I heard, like, any of the people, like, any of, like, the defensive linemen, like D Ford or Sampson and Ibukam, or like any of, like, the other key guys in that game. Like, were they inactive or anything? Did Kyle bench them or whatnot? I don't know what's going on. But overall, Kyle Shanahan, I don't know what's brewing with him. Is he having trust issues with some of the players? Does he not like what he's seeing with his play calls? Does he keep changing it? I don't know. But I think it's really affecting the team. I think it's really, really affecting the team. Now, for some takeaways from the game, I already mentioned the Kyle Shanahan portion. It was kind of like a 2-for-1, so we'll move on from that one. The secondary, it's a major issue. Once again, I think it's going to be a major issue for the rest of the season. You already lost Jason Verrett. You've already lost Josh Norman. Well, I think you'll lose him for like a week with the chest injury. Apparently, he was coughing out blood. But Jason Verrett was like a big hit to that secondary that already game burnt secondary. Emmanuel Mosley, K'Wan Williams, Jimmy Ward. They're not stepping up, man. Like, you thought these guys were gonna like take that next step for that Niners secondary. They're not doing it. They're not cutting it. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do at this point. Should they trade for someone? Should they find someone that's still a free agent? I mean, Richard Sherman's not gonna walk through that door anymore because he's with Tom Brady in Tampa now. I don't know what they're gonna do. I really don't know what they're gonna do with that secondary. I just think that they're gonna just kind of have to try their best to keep up in with the opposing offenses in scoring all the damn time. And when it comes to the running game, man, it's gonna be tough. It really is gonna be tough. I mean, I guess I'll try to be more patient with the Niners running game issues, but it is really gonna be tough now that Raheem Mostert is out for the year. Elijah Mitchell didn't play this game, but I don't know if he's going to be back against the Seahawks. Trey Sermon did fine, but he didn't post like any astounding performances in this game aside from the touchdown and a decent run in the third quarter. But yeah, this run game that was so prevalent in 2019 and 2020, it's not looking so hot right now in 3 weeks in. And last but not least, Jimmy G. He got the Niners back in this game, but even then, he still has his issues. The issues still persist. Like, he holds on for the ball for too long. And once he does, like, that defensive line will eventually get to him, and he's gonna eat the sack. And like, the offensive line, like, good or bad as they may be, Jimmy G has to get that ball out quicker. And once he gets it out quicker, he can't be pressured into throwing it so damn high that it gets like bounced off the receiver's hands and it gets intercepted, or it gets straight up intercepted. He's got to control these issues, man. And Kyle Shanahan has to trust him a little bit more. Like, sure, Jimmy G has his issues, but at least give him a little more leeway here. Give him a little more leeway. Like, I think that's the biggest thing right now between quarterback and coach. I don't think they trust each other. I don't think they trust each other at all. So, like, Jimmy G has got to get the ball out faster. He's got to take care of the football too, and stop making like unnecessary pressure-filled throws. So those are my takeaways from this game. But now we talked about week 3 for this 49ers team. They're going to be coming off a kind of like a heartbreaker, a brutal loss to the Packers. They tried to make this comeback, but it failed. And now they got to shake it off. They got to look forward to week 4 because it's going to be a crucial one. I think even more so crucial than week 3 was, because an NFC West rival is coming to town, John. And guess who it is right off the bat? The Seahawks. The She-Hawks, pal. Russell Wilson and the boys are coming to Levi Stadium. Yes, literally 4 weeks in, and we already have the Seahawks. Like, my God, what a schedule. What a schedule, man. So let's talk about this upcoming week 4 matchup between the Seahawks visiting the 49ers. Man. Now, what do you think about it on paper? The Niners do kind of have a chance. They do kind of have a chance, especially considering that the Seahawks have started a surprising 1-2. They've lost 2 straight to the Tennessee Titans on a game winner from Randy Bullock in overtime, and they got shut out by the Minnesota Vikings in the second half. They pretty much let Kirk Cousins not be captain check down, and they let Alexander Madison, the backup to Dalvin Cook, run over him all throughout that second half. So pretty much after Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Chris Carson pretty much roll in that most of the first half, the Vikings offense pretty much shut them down, and that defense shut them down. So a total team effort from that Vikings team that actually tried to be competitive and tried to be more than just, we're contempt with being, a mid team. So they got the clamps on the Seahawks on Sunday. But despite that, this is still a high-powered Seahawks team on paper. They got MVP level quarterback in Russell Wilson and a pretty damn good receiving core in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And while they still have a safety in Jamal Adams and the defensive side, the rest of their defense is still kind of suspect. That was evident in that loss to the Minnesota Vikings and those losses against the Tennessee Titans, especially the Titans ones, because the Seahawks almost ran away with that game, but Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill got back in that game. Really good. So when it comes to this game, some keys to victory for the 49ers in order to win this crucial division game, because if they don't, they're going to fall behind real quick, especially considering it's the first of 2 division games in the NFC West, because if they lose this one and then they also lose this one, they're in a very early hole to try to win this division title if they have a chance to. So some keys to victory for this 49ers team against the Seahawks on Sunday. You got to crumble that Seahawks mid-offensive line. Yes, mid-offensive line. They didn't make any improvements to it in the offseason like they haven't done in years past. And it showed in those 2 games against the Titans and the Vikings. Like that Titans front 4 and those Vikings front 4. They got to Wilson countless times. And it really showed. So this is an opportunity for Nick Bosa, Dee Ford, Javon Kinlaw, and Eric Armstead to make it right when they couldn't get to Aaron Rodgers more than once. So this is an opportunity to constantly pressure and constantly contain Russell Wilson on both sides in this game. So get after Russell Wilson, contain him within, and force him to making a lot of mistakes. Now, as for the other part of the defense, the secondary can't allow itself to let Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf get wide open. If the secondary allowing Devontae Adams getting wide open was bad enough, it could be a real problem, and they're going to be kicking themselves real bad if they can't stop two good receivers. They're already without Jason Verrett and Josh Norman. Josh Norman might not be playing this Sunday. And like I said, Richard Sherman's not coming back. He's in Tampa now. And I don't know who else you're going to get help from the secondary at this point. So the secondary they got to step up. They got to play better. They got to give themselves a wake-up call. They got to say, hey, we need to find a way to play much better against the elite competition. So they got to find a way to have a better performance against this division rival team. Maybe this will be the motivation that makes them play at their best. Now moving over to the offensive side of the ball. Jimmy G has got to limit his mistakes early and often. He can't be sailing the ball over the receiver's head, or you can't have these play calls where he just dinks and dunks it to the receivers and expect guys like George Kittle or Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk or even the running backs like Trey Sermon to get like the yards after the catch, the yaks. So rely less on, the yaks, the dinks and dunks. Try to push the ball downfield. Go try to take those risks, those long ball risks, like the few instances that we saw on Sunday night against Green Bay. Take those risks, Jimmy G can't throw the ball if Kyle Shanahan lets him. Let him do it. So he has to limit his mistakes, let him loose, but also limit the mistakes. And, don't let him throw open interceptions. Don't let him fumble the ball backwards. He's got to have a near perfect performance early and often against the Seahawks defense, if there is a Seahawks defense. And for the love of God, last but not least, they got to start their first few possessions better and build upon it. I don't want to see this team start with the run that gets stuffed or pass that gets overthrown or underthrown and then probably intercepted, or Jimmy G holding the ball for too long and then taking a sack, or anything else out of the ordinary on their first few possessions that results in a punt or a turnover. It's been 3 games too many where they started off too slow and they needed the opposition to do, the opposing offenses to do something really stupid, or wait until the Niners, when I mean they're really behind to wake up and get really going. Like the case was on Sunday night against Green Bay, and I guess in the case of, the Eagles game where they felt like they were down, to really pick it up. They got to start this game faster, stronger, more efficient, do everything I just mentioned. I know, I'm just a guy sitting here in a chair being an armchair QB, but they gotta be faster. They gotta be more efficient with these first possessions of these games, and if they do that, they'll have a chance to beat the Seahawks and get in a critical division victory this coming Sunday. And it'll be very important that they do, because the week after they're going to be going on the road in Arizona to face the Cardinals before their bye week in week 6. So yeah, it's going to be a very crucial game very early for the 49ers against the Seahawks on Sunday. So what do you guys think about not just this coming matchup against the Seahawks, but last week's matchup against the Packers for the 49ers? Let me know how you feel. However you can, whether it's comment on YouTube, comment on social media, or direct message, any way you possibly can. But that is it for this recap edition, and as a preview edition of Very Cold Lasagna for my San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, it's kind of a brutal loss for the red and gold, but hopefully they'll bounce back. That'll motivate them to play better against their division rival Seahawks. Yes, the Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll-esque Seattle Seahawks. But anyway, that's it for me. I am your host, DylanLasagna, signing out a Very Cold Lasagna. Thank you all for 50 episodes of this freezing cold podcast. Here's to 50 more episodes on the way to episode 100. I don't even know what I'm going to do for episode 100. But anyway, that's it for Very Cold Lasagna. Make sure to listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, and Google Podcasts. And make sure to subscribe to the Very Cold Lasagna YouTube channel and turn on that notification bell. And follow the show on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Very Cold Lasagna. And as always, keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of pro wrestling and sports freezing cold in the fridge, tasty like lasagna. Anyway, that's it for now. And until next time, peace out.